Dear viewers, a warm welcome to Quirky Tales from Unknown Realms Season 2 from your storyteller Kitty. Our story for this month is The Monster from Z Castle, Episode 1. Back in the Andromilky Galaxy, I travelled once more as a liberated, curious soul, free, weightless, eternal. As I drifted across its vast expanse, something unusual caught my attention. Beyond the radiant, evolved planets lay a cluster of smaller, dimmer worlds, obscure, forgotten, almost like debris left behind after the Great Merger. Curiosity stirred within me again. I chose the largest among them, planet Dust. This time I would choose my own form. Not knowing what awaited below, I decided to begin as something light, something unnoticed. A leaf. Yes, a simple drifting leaf. Carried gently by the wind, I would observe before I intervened. I floated across barren lands and dim settlements until dusk began to fall. That was when I saw them. On a lonely road, figures emerged, half alien, half human, weak, shackled, moving in chains. They looked starved, defeated. My spirit recoiled. Slaves. Then came the sound of hoofs. Masked riders thundered down the road, tall and merciless, wielding whips as if cruelty was sport. The enslaved stumbled forward while the riders laughed. Rage stirred within me. A free soul cannot witness such horror and remain silent. I drifted further. At the end of the road stood a towering structure, a vast, intimidating castle. A sign at the entrance read, Z Castle, trespassing prohibited. A leaf needs no permission. I rose with the wind and settled upon a high window of the tallest tower. Inside, lights glowed. I waited. I observed. And then he appeared. Massive, broad-shouldered, cloaked in shadow, eyes burning, a twisted face devoid of kindness. This was no ordinary being. This was Zed. Over the next few days I watched. He enslaved villagers to toil in his fields and vineyards. He hunted crocodiles for pleasure, feasting greedily while others starved. Profits poured in from his enterprises. Yet, that was not his darkest pleasure. He ran a school. Under the guise of charity, he gathered the children of slaves. Once a week, he taught science. But his lessons were twisted experiments, harmful potions, cruel concoctions. And when the children went out to play, he rummaged through their bags, stole their lunches, stuffed them into the deep pockets of his cloak. He delighted in their confusion, their hunger, their misery, a being who feeds on suffering. Enough! I would not remain a powerless leaf pressed against cold glass. The merger of the Andromeda galaxy had strengthened me. The universe had entrusted me with power, and I would use it. Planet dust would not remain buried in darkness forever. I transformed. Light surrounded me. Wings unfolded. A wand settled into my hand. I became a fairy. With a swift motion, I entered the chamber. "Hello," I sang softly. "How do you do today, Mr. Monster?" Zed turned sharply, snarling. "How dare you enter my castle?" His eyes narrowed. "Who are you?" "I am a fairy," I replied calmly, "and I have come to make myself comfortable." For the first time, the tyrant of Zed Castle looked uncertain. Had he finally met his match? "Well," I continued, "I was simply flying about, exploring the countryside, when I noticed your gloomy castle sitting at the corner of the road. It looked dreadfully dull. I felt I deserved a little break, so I thought I'd flutter in through the window, rest my wings and legs, have a cup of tea, and perhaps a pleasant chat with the owner." The monster was furious, but at the same time curious. He had never seen a beautiful fairy before, let alone one bold enough to invite herself in for tea. "Ha!" he barked. "You are a bold fairy, or whatever, intruding through my window and demanding tea?" "Why not?" I replied sweetly. "I do it all the time. In fact, I'm going to sit right here in this comfortable chair, and you are going to serve me tea and biscuits." "Now you are crossing your limit," bellowed the monster. "No one has ever dared speak to me like this." "Well, Monster Zed," I smiled, crossing my legs calmly, "there is always a first time for everything. Tell me, have you ever seen a fairy as beautiful as me before?" No," he muttered. "Well then, that's your first time, isn't it?" He hesitated. "Yes, exactly. So be a good host and fetch the tea." "You cannot order me around," he roared. "Leave before you test my patience." I leaned forward. "If you don't behave like a proper host, I shall punish you." He laughed darkly. "Oh, really? And how would you do that?" "You tell me," I replied calmly. "What shall I do to you?" The monster paused. No one had ever spoken to him this way. A strange amusement flickered in his eyes. "Fine," he growled. "Make me fly." "Easy peasy," I said. I waved my wand. Presto! Monster Z shot into the air, bouncing off the ceiling, swooping up and down like an overgrown bat. I twirled my wand again and increased the speed. He zipped wildly across the room. "Stop!" he screamed. "I've had enough. My head is spinning." I lowered him gently. "So," I asked sweetly, "like a good big boy, Will you get me tea and biscuits? Yes, yes, he hollered, and a slave appeared, head bowed. We continue, dear listeners, in the next episode. See you soon.